What's going on, folks? And thanks for joining us on CN Live. I'm Colion Noir. In a few minutes, we're going to check out the Friends of NRA's Gun of the Year. But first, Jenn Jacques joins us from BearingArms.com. What's going on?
Not too much. Trying to stay warm, stay out of the snow up here in the frigid, frozen tundra.
Yeah, you have fun with that. Yeah, I don't do cold weather. Yeah, Dallas tried to have a little, what do you call it? A little cold front.
Yeah, you guys even got hit with that Arctic blast. Not as bad as we did, though. I think it was Monday. We had wind chills of minus 35 when I took the kids to school.
Yeah, see, I don't do the stuff like that. That's why I stay. That's why I stay down south in Texas. We drop to like 29 or something, and I'm talking to my neighbor, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go and get my faucets covered, and all things like that. He's looking at me. He's like, dude, I'm from Canada in Chicago. He's like, just go home. He's like, this is nothing. But
Exactly.
So talk to me. What stories have you been working on? You've been writing a fury lately.
I have been, trying to bank some stories to go into the holiday weekend, but
Let's knock them out one by one.
trying. Tomorrow I'll be putting one up about the blessing of teaching children self-defense and situational awareness. So I'm hoping that people will really take a look at that and talk to their loved ones coming home, either from college or even just school-age children, about just really good fundamentals of situational awareness and knowing what to do if you find yourself in a bad situation.
Does any of this incorporate the firearm?
It will, but this part does not.
Gotcha. And I only ask because it's interesting you brought that up. I have one of my legal mentors. He recently called me and he talked. He's like, I finally had the talk with my sons, and not the talk that everybody else is thinking right now, but the gun talk. He was like, I thought it was as good a time as any to finally tell them, Dad has a gun. And so he kind of broke down everything he did and explained to him the safety precautions, things of that nature. And he was like, so what do you think? And I was like, I don't have any kids. So, but.
Well, how old are his kids?
Oh, man. They're like maybe 10, maybe.
Oh, wow.
10, 11, I think. I'm not sure. I may be completely wrong, so don't hold me to that.
You're like bigger than a bread box.
Yeah, right. They're capable, so to speak.
Right.
But just the information, and keep in mind, he got into firearms because of me.
Really?
I remember I walked into his law office as a dusty law student, and pretty much begging for a job. And so as I was working out of the office, that's kind of when I really started getting into the firearm stuff. And he would always see me come in, and I'd have these bags, and I just have guns everywhere in the office. I don't know why I thought I could get away with that, but I did. And so he got curious one day, called me into his office, and the next thing I knew, a couple weeks later, he's like, yeah, I got my concealed carry license. I was like, okay. But yeah, so that the fact that you brought up the having that conversation, and it's interesting because a lot of people don't think like that. I think gun people do, but people who aren't don't necessarily. When you say the talk, we're talking about bees and birds and pollen and stuff like that. But that's that second talk, or maybe even the first talk, generally speaking, should revolve around a firearm. At least I think.
Absolutely. I think the earlier the better, the sooner the better. I've obviously been speaking to my children about firearms, gun safety, and shooting sports, hunting, all that stuff since they were little. And it's always been a progression of information that I'm feeding them, but the overall message has always been, always follow the 4 rules of gun safety, and you will always be safe around guns.
Yeah.
And they can rattle them back to me, 1, 2, 3, 4. But my youngest now, she's 9, and I'll say, Gracie, what are the 4 rules of gun safety? And she'll go, well, the first one should just be, don't touch it. So she gets it,
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the other stories that you're working on that really kind of piqued your interest.
Well, the GQ story covering Ashley Fetter's attempt to millennialsplain why women.
That was funny.
Because we don't have enough hybrid words. I made a new one, millennialsplain. Why women are buying guns. Yeah. And part of it, was just kind of ridiculous. Why do you think women are buying guns? Turn on your local news at any time, 5, 6, 10, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Check out what's going on. Guess why women are buying guns. I mean, we're staying single longer, right? We're working different jobs that we maybe would not have 20 years ago. And, we have the whole anything guys can do, we can do better mentality. So we know that there are real dangers out there in the world. We need to own our personal protection plan and be sure that we can handle ourselves and defend ourselves in every situation.
Yeah, it's interesting. I actually put up a tweet and then subsequently put it on Instagram and subsequently set Instagram on fire with this particular post. And I basically said, the leftists like to deem themselves the champions of female empowerment, but then at the same time tell the same women that they need to depend on gun control laws and the government in order to keep themselves safe. I just think that's an incredible oxymoron.
For bearing arms that says you do not truly support feminism until you support a woman's choice to carry a gun for self-defense. And that just went...
Yeah, that's usually how that goes. It's interesting how when you challenge people's perceived notions about a particular topic, it terrifies people. And it's kind of like, no, put everything back in the box, put it back. I don't want to challenge that. I do it myself sometimes, I'm not even gonna lie. Well,
like the gentleman you were just talking about, he didn't get into guns until you introduced him in such a way that he was like, oh, okay, well, I can do this. Yeah. And the same thing with the GQ author. She had gone through a lot of different situations and was highlighting different women who do carry for self-defense. But then she herself, kudos to her, but she went into a gun range and she shot a firearm herself. And she said it was better than taking a spin class. She had just tried Soul Cycle or whatever it's called. And she said hitting the range was better than Soul Cycle. And I said, there you go.
I don't think that's saying much. Soul Cycle looks incredibly horrible to me.
Who are these women that eat up these classes like Tic Tacs? They're insane.
It is. No, it's just funny to me. I hear it all the time. There's a new one every other month. And I'm just like, how do y'all keep up with this stuff?
Church has them. And I'm just like, no.
I guess it's a new form of muscle confusion. I guess that's how it works. You change it up.
I'm confused, all right.
But no, it's I don't know. When I think about, it's harder for me because when I talk about firearm ownership with women and some of the women who decide to do it and some that don't, it's a delicate dance for me. Because what you don't want to do is I don't definitely want to come off as either one dismissive or tactless. I've been told from a couple past relationships that I can be a little insensitive. But from that perspective, in your experience, how, from a man's point of view, how do you suggest we go about kind of approaching that?
Honestly, the best tip that I can give across the board, I don't care if you're man or mineral, it doesn't matter. If you're talking to a woman about why you feel they should carry, you need to bring up real life news stories of people like Carol Baum. And you need to say, look, here's this woman who had the police aware of her potential attacker. She had applied for a firearms permit. She had her friends, her family, everybody was advocating for her. People were looking out for her. This man still came to her home and still stabbed her to death in her driveway. That should never happen, ever. So I don't care if it's taking a self-defense class, learning situational awareness, increasing whatever it is, security alarm. I don't care what it is. It could be a stick in your patio door. The point is, there are so many steps that you can take, but really educate yourself as to what is going on in the world around you so that hey, here are my options, here's what I'm going to do, and now I have a plan.
Yeah.
So I think if you don't make it all about the gun, and you make it more about self-defense in today's real world, women are a lot more receptive.
Gotcha. As much as I kind of make fun of this kind of perceived shock about women going and getting guns in this article the way she did, I do, like I said, I have to give her some applause for actually taking the time to take the steps to actually kind of delving into it. As opposed to standing from afar and kind of just critiquing it and throwing rocks at the glass house. You don't usually get that a lot with a lot of these kind of write-ups when it comes to the issues of guns. However, I do find it interesting. It's just I don't see why this is so hard to grasp, why women are buying firearms now that the way they're doing it.
Right.
Like, it baffles me a little bit. It's like, I think it just makes sense. Even when I wasn't into guns, I always could see, okay, I can understand why somebody wants a gun, whether it be a man or a woman. So I don't know, I find it funny.
Yeah, I thought her approach in the beginning, I started reading through it, to be honest. I thought, oh my gosh, this is just going to be another liberal. Guns are bad. My ex-boyfriend had a gun and I didn't like the video, and it makes me not feel good in my tummy. It really did come across like that. And then she got into actually firing a gun and talking about how that was enjoyable and exercised some demons that she had of her own gun phobia. And that was awesome. So really, the thing is, I have women in my own community that say, oh, it's always been on my bucket list. I've always wanted to shoot a gun. And I always think,
that's so crazy.
Have you ever, right? I'm like, I want to go bungee jumping. That is a bucket list.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've been shooting in like a week and a half.
Right.
I haven't shot in a week and a half, and I'm going crazy. So,
and I never get to leave my desk. I need to start leaving more often. But all I have to do is take them once. Mm-hmm. Honestly, take them once. And before we even go into the range, I take them into a classroom. I let them hold the gun. I let them know exactly what we're going to go through. Here's how you're going to load it. Here's how you're going to hold it. I want you to stand here. Are you comfortable? How does this feel? This is what's going to happen. You're also going to wear this. I have them put on everything. So by the time they even get to the door to go into the range, they're already comfortable. They know what's going to happen. That just makes hitting the paper target that much more pleasurable and empowering.
Yep, absolutely. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some more of the other articles that you penned. So it should make for a good conversation.
Yes, thank you. Mm-hmm.